So what I have for you today is a Nintendo Switch Lite, or Lite, whatever you want to call it. So this one, as you can see, has a blue screen of death. And as far as I've seen, usually this is because of the main chip, the main processor, not having its solder balls connected to the pads of the board. So usually by doing a reflow we can fix it. So let's remove all the screws and do a little test. So this will be my first time opening a Nintendo Switch of any kind, so very first time using my skills on Nintendo Switch Lite. To open it, I will have to pry it over on the sides and remove the back cover to separate them both, just like so. And I will be discovering all of this together with yourselves. So to remove the back cover, we still need to pry a little bit on the top side. This has obviously been opened before. Let's then see if we can do anything about it. We will now remove this metal shield. It has 3 screws. It has one bracket that is broken, so someone just remove these 3 screws and pull it out. As you can see, the left bracket is broken, but we can live with that. And this sponge over here has already been lifted as well, so definitely someone opened it up before. Let's now remove the heat sink. And after removing the heatsink, we need to remove this plate that covers the main chip. After that, we will need to clean it a little bit to remove this old paste. Whoever did this has not done a proper job, obviously. And we apply now a little bit of pressure on the main chip. I'm applying too much pressure, as you can see on the screen, but let's just see if it does any sign of life. So maybe the battery is completely flat. It should not be, because it turned the screen on with the blue light previously, but probably not enough power to show anything on screen. So let's just plug it in and see if we get anything besides the blue screen of death. So this did not come with the original charger, I'm just using a regular USB. And as you can see, we have battery sign, which means that the main chip will probably only need a heating, so a reflow, for it to work. So let's leave it on charge for a little bit and see if it boots up. If it does, we will know that the chip only needs a reflow. Let's use the USB meter. As you can see, it's taking a charge at 0.4 amps, which means that the battery is flat. So we need to leave it on charge for a little bit. I am a bit anxious for it to start, so let's try and force it to turn on. Just pressing the power button. And we have a Nintendo logo. Let's see if it boots up. It should be booting up. It is. So we have Nintendo Switch logo and it is still charging. So yeah, we have a parental control. Let me now see if we can start it, turn it off and on and all that. So it froze. It froze already. So once we lift it, it froze, which means that the main chip is really not doing a proper contact on the motherboard. So we have a Nintendo logo. Can we start it up again? Apparently not. Let's try that again, turning it on, and we have the blue screen back. So let's then remove the motherboard from the console and do the reflow and see if we manage to fix this one. So with the board removed, we can see that we have one pole that is broken, so we need to sort that out when we are assembling the console back. Let's just remove the screw and then we'll glue it once we have the board fixed, hopefully. So now we give a quick clean on the chip so that the heat doesn't spread out to the wrong areas, because we need the chip to be evenly heated. Once it's heated, we'll nudge it with our tweezers to make sure it does a proper contact in all the solder balls. So we start by applying flux all around the chip, just like so. Put as much as you can so it flows under the chip. And we use this tape to protect the connector. There will be 450 degrees at 50% airflow, and we will heat it until we start seeing bubbling under the chip. I apologize for my camera skills, but here we are still heating up the chip and nudging it until we see a little bit of movement, which we saw Unfortunately, you could not see it, but it did move. So now we let it cool down until we can clean and assemble it back to see if it works. So it's cool enough now, so let's clean all this flux with a cotton swab. And let's put it back on the console to see if we have a working switch or if we have a big lump of failure. So let's now connect it and see what we get. We immediately have a charging symbol, which is super awesome. Let's see if it turns on. It turns on by itself. It turns on by itself and goes into the main menu. So let's give it a test and see what can we do here. I'm not sure about how to remove this parent control, but let's test the buttons and touch. Touch is working. Let's go around the apps a little bit. I'm not too familiar with switches. So let's go to the definitions and see what we can work out here. Screen brightness, so you can see buttons are not registering, which is a shame. We also have a parent control, so this board might just be for parts. Unfortunately, only this button works. Just so you know, I am voicing over this video, and I tested this board a little bit more off camera and seen that none of the buttons is registering. This means that there is a little chip that is broken on the console, but this is not a chip that we can order because it's a programmable chip. If this happens, we always need to remove it from a donor board that we know works, at least that chip works, and it only can be replaced by a chip from a donor board. So don't buy that chip, otherwise you won't be able to make the buttons work. So what I will do is, I have another board that I have bought that has blue screen of that as well. I will reflow that board and put it in this console, and we'll see if we manage to have it working, and we'll go from there. So this is already the other board that I had. I already reflown it and tested it and seen that it is working. So I will now just clean this so you can see how you can put fresh thermal paste on the console. Obviously I have put on the chip under here as well, and now I will clean this old messy thermal paste and put new one on top. So I will now apply a little bit of thermal paste on the heatsink and attach it where it will be resting. This way, if you put it like this, you never miss the place where it should be. So now let's put the 3 screws back on. So the switches take a lot of thermal paste. You will need to put it on the chip, then you'll need to put it on the heatsink, and then you need to put a little bit on top of the heatsink so it contacts the metal shield. Usually the original thing that they put is putty, thermal putty, and not thermal paste. It's the one that looks like a thermal pad, you know, but it is a little bit more solid than the thermal paste. In this case I don't have it, so I will just place the thermal paste. So now we try to put the metal shield as best as we can so we don't screw up our thermal paste job. So now let's give it a quick clean because it has a little bit of dust on this area. We will now sit both covers together. And we will place all the screws. Remember that the tri-wing screws are on the back of the console. The normal Phillips heads are on top and bottom. And now we turn it on, and as you will see, it will start up. It's saying that has a low battery. It obviously has. It has a few games and a lot of people that used to use this board. Remember that this board is not from this Switch, but everything is working as it should. Here, unfortunately, the left D-pad button is not registering. I'm not sure why. Maybe the chip is also failing. I'm not sure, but I tried to see if there was any dirty contacts or something like that, but there are none. So I'm not sure why, but anyhow, I will keep this for myself, will not sell it, so it should be good to go. It's just for me and my daughters to enjoy some Nintendo games, and that's it. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe the channel, and I will see you on the next video. You have a good one.